and welcome to Elbasan, about half an hour's drive southeast of the Albanian capital, Tirana, for coverage of this 2023 European Championship qualifier between the England and Albania under-21s. The Czech Republic won again earlier, so England looking to close the gap once more on the pace setters. They still have fate in their own hands, given their games in hand, but they'll need to get the job done here against an Albania side who are only narrowly beaten by the Czech Republic in their last outing. Well, before we get underway, we will have the national anthems, starting with England. Well, England unbeaten in their last 50 qualifiers, including playoffs, following that comfortable success against Andorra at the Vitality Stadium on Friday. And they have won both of their previous games against Albania. It's an Albania side changed by 3 from the narrow 1-0 loss to the Czech Republic here, all of which are enforced. Kraja out injured, Karica and Mucci both suspended after picking up their 3rd yellow cards of the qualifying campaign. In comes centre-half Adolf Silmani, Colchester's on loan midfielder Dobra, and striker Indrit Tucci. As for England, Lee Carsley has shuffled his pack as expected from that win over Andorra. Ben Johnson gets his under-21s debut in place of Luke Thomas. James Garner and Curtis Jones replace Doyle and Ramsey in midfield. Well, after scoring from the bench on Friday, Anthony Gordon gets a go from the start in place of Harvey Elliott. Our referee this evening is from Sweden. Kaspar Furbury has the whistle, and before we get underway, the players and match officials take a knee. So it is Albania in the red, England in the white, and England will get this game underway here at the Elbasan Arena. So England looking to close the gap on the Czech Republic once again at the summit of Group G as they chase qualification for the European Championship in 2023. They have 3 games in hand on the Czech Republic. The gap now 6 points after the Czechs were 3-0 winners away to Andorra earlier on. Delighted to have a man who's played for the under-21s as well as the senior side alongside me in Lee Hendry. Lee, will it be just more of the same that Lee Carsley's looking for after that comfortable success on Friday?
Yeah, well, they really did get out the traps in that game on Friday, just like they've started here quite brightly. I think it's important that they do start on the front foot because, as you know, the longer the game goes on, it will suit Albania. They'll sit back and make it really difficult for this England under-21 side. So it's important that they move the ball quickly and make it really difficult and obviously test that goalkeeper as early as possible.
Yeah, missing a few key players, as I mentioned there. And their head coach, Alban Bushi, said that he thought that the performance against the Czech Republic, when they were only beaten by a 0-0, an own goal as well from Sergio Calai, was the best performance since he took over as head coach of the under-21. So certainly full of praise, despite the fact they came out of it empty-handed. Here is Tucci. And now collected by Dobra. Mopped up by Curtis Jones, one of those coming into the side this evening.
Yeah, well, I felt when Curtis come on Friday evening, I looked at the standout performances, and Doyle was one of them who sits in there and really dictates a lot of the ball. I felt really pushed England high up the pitch, particularly with his high intensity and his passing. That's exactly what Curtis Jones has got to do, really identical to what Doyle did on Friday evening. So that's going to be an important role, I feel, because England will play it high up the pitch. They utilise as much as possible the fullbacks and make overloads in wide areas. I think we're just checking to see where Madueke would play, whether he'd play on the left-hand side or Gordon would play there. It looks like he's come out on this right-hand side, but we will see both players utilising either flank. And I say that Livramento will make an overload along with Ben Johnson.
Livramento's throw. Madueke looking for Gordon, but not quite able to find him. Here's Jones. Looked like a heavy challenge in there. Garnett keeps it going, though, for England. Now Jones. Gordon. Loses out, and Dobra has it for Albania, and that will be a throw for the home side.
Well, as I said, in them wide areas, they will certainly make an overload, and so important that England keep well organised. Lee Carsley did make a good point, is that, you know, sometimes teams do sit back and then they have that counter-attack ability where at times England did look exposed. That's where they conceded that one goal on Friday, just because one of them centre-halves did go and join in, almost making a defensive midfielder. Then you're left quite vulnerable.
England won home and away against Albania in qualifying for the last European Championship. They scored 8 goals without reply. 3-0 victors on Albanian soil. Madueke. It's done well. Now Jones. England looking to try and find a bit of rhythm early on. Johnson. Cross goes Jones.
Madueke was excellent on Friday evening as well, so it's important that they get the ball to him as much as possible, because he's direct. He will relieve a lot of pressure, and you'd always fancy him 1v1 against his opponent.
Madueke spun on nicely. Balogun is offside.
It's a clever little play from Madueke, not staying on this right-hand side, coming into a more central area, and you can see Balogun's just inches offside. Just got to have a check along that line.
There is Lee Carsley, who was speaking about his pride that England have now stretched their unbeaten run in qualifiers to 50 matches, says it's testament to the players and the staff who have coached them. It's no mean feat, and he's seen it at first hand. It's something that is in his mind and the players' minds to keep on going. It has been built under 4 different permanent head coaches: Stuart Pearce, Gareth Southgate and Eddie Boothroyd before Carsley. Madueke slipped into Gordon, who's gone over, and that's a free kick in a good area.
Yeah, it's excellent play again from Madueke. I like the fact that he's coming into a more central role. Just the fullback doesn't know whether to go with him, and that's when it's really uncomfortable for a side to go and engage, go and make that challenge, and then they get in a great area. It's a fabulous little reverse pass into Anthony Gordon. Now this is a real good opportunity.
Simon Simoni sorting out his wall then. Well, Gordon scored a peach in that game on Friday, so his tail will certainly be up.
Well, there's plenty of ability that will hover over this. Morgan Gibbs-White obviously being one of them. And you've got the young James Garner, who can certainly launch a free kick too.
Well, his set pieces have been excellent for Nottingham Forest this season. But looks as though it is Gordon. It's Anthony Gordon. Oh, it was gorgeous, and it was very nearly the opener for England. Congratulations going the way of Simon Simoni for the splendid save to keep it at 0-0.
Well, I actually felt that this was going to nestle. It was a super well-conducted free kick. Looked like it was going into that far corner. Just don't think there was enough pace on it that was going to beat Simoni, and he does have to get across and make a really good save.
3 in 3 games for the under-21s for Anthony Gordon after that great goal against Andorra on Friday, after he got 2 on his debut against the Czechs in November.
Well, there were some standout goals, and that one was the standout one of the evening because it was some finish. Well executed volley coming from some distance and height. More than capable of doing that.
Mitai, Albania under the pump early on. Madueke, lovely stuff, but then the cross just lets him down.
Well, Lee Carsley did touch on this point, is that when they're getting into the final third, is that they've got to make sure that they take care in that final ball. Many times when you're getting into that area, it's important that the ball and the delivery, particularly into Balogun, who got his first goal, getting across the marker, it's important that that delivery gets into the box as much as possible.
Collected by Harwood-Bellis, who's kept the captain's armband again. There has been talk about it being shared around by Lee Carsley. He confirmed yesterday, though, that Taylor Harwood-Bellis would retain it for this game. Now Jones. England on top early on. Livramento. Madueke. Again getting clear. What's the cross like this time? It's a better one, and it was very nearly an own goal to give England the lead.
Well, excellent, particularly when he gets 1v1. You just see Livramento, he doesn't want to go and give him that support. He's encouraging him to go and get at his marker, which he does. And then it's a super ball whipped in. Kalahai just gets enough to sweep it over the bar, but really good play again from England.
Well, it was Kalahai who scored the own goal that gave the Czech Republic the win here on Friday. And history almost repeating itself there. Deep corner, too deep for anyone in white. Madueke keeps it alive. Here's Gordon. And touched off for the run of Balogun. Keeper deals with it in the end.
Super play again from England, just excellent little cushion pass. I think it was James Garner that just cushioned that into Balogun. Really tight angle for him to try and test the goalkeeper.
Well, Albania can't get out of their own half so far. Tuki, who's a centre forward, who's back there just outside his own area for now. Clipped back by Johnson. Given away by Colwill. Made his debut for the under-21s in that victory against Andorra. Brought in after Mark Gay was promoted to the senior England squad.
Well, it's important when you come in and you're introduced to the squad, particularly in that area where Gay's been absolutely magnificent this season, and obviously furthered on into the full squad, along with Conor Gallagher, Emil Smith-Rowe. Just show that England have got some fantastic, good young players that are filtering through the system.
Well, Indrit Tuki, who came into the side today after suspensions and injuries deprived Alban Bushi of some of his more regular starters, is down, but not out by the looks of things.
They really struggled to get the ball into him as much as possible, just to try and relieve that bit of pressure that England are forcing them, certainly forcing them back.
Alban Bushi is the man in charge of the under-21s, 48-year-old former Albania international who took the reins in December 2016. He's been involved with the national setup since 2012. He was the under-16s coach before getting this gig, and it looks as though he is going to have to make an early change after all. He was talking about how he'd be more confident of giving England a real game here this evening if he had all of his first-choice players available, deprived of some of them, and now forced into another switch early on.
Well, that's an important point, isn't it? Is that when you haven't got your full squad of players coming up against a superior side in this England under-21 squad, you have to be at your best.
Nicely turned on towards the run of Balogun. England keeping the pressure up. Johnson, Jones, now Garner. Here's Livramento. Forced to retreat somewhat. Garner. Harwood Bellis. Johnson. Patience from England as they try to pick the lock. Jones might be able to help them do that here. Gibbs White was involved as well. Kara is there, but again, Albania can only scramble it out of play, and now they will have the chance to make that first change of the game. And it's Eljan Toki replaces Indrit Tuki. The 19-year-old who's on the books of Fiorentina is going to get an early shout from the bench. England, though, with more to shout about in the opening stages here. Jones. Livramento. Madueke. Again, positive with the ball at his feet. And he was on the surge there. He was looking for the return pass, and he's a bit aggrieved that he didn't get it. Yeah,
it was excellent. He's just driving in, isn't he, to Balogun? He wants that little return pass because he's going at pace.
Well, they want handball here. And I think they want a yellow card from Casper Furbury as well, the referee.
Well, he just comes out. I don't know if it was a real big lunge that they were furious about on Morgan Gibbs White. It's quite a high foot.
I thought he caught the ball with his arm on the deck afterwards, but it was that initial challenge that England were furious about. Might be a bit too far out for Gordon to try his luck again here.
Yeah, you look at the distance, and I feel that seeing Madueke just coming out on this right again, just wonder whether they'll just give him the ball to get in a 1v1 situation where he's been very good. Or they get big centre-halves up. Colwill Howard Bellis.
Well, when England were 3-0 winners in Albania in November 2019, they opened the scoring with a superb free kick from Phil Foden. This one is delivered by Ghana, and it comes to nothing.
A real disappointing free kick from James Garner, particularly when you've got the centre-halves venturing up the field. They want something better. They need that supply, they need that service.
Again, Albania making a meal of clearing their lines. Selmani has it, but then England have it straight back. Howard Bellis. Livramento rampaging forwards, as he does so often and does so well.
A disappointing pass from Livramento. You can see where England are trying to access, trying to unlock the door. This right side seems very evident that they want Madueke. Livramento playing high up the pitch, squeezing England really high into this Albanian half.
Now it's Curtis Jones. Ambush there, but England still have it as Ghana pokes it across to Johnson, but too much on it for the West Ham man to be able to keep in.
Well, it's got to be a real patient build-up from Lee Carsley's men. It has to be. Again, it has to be moved quickly. Needs to try and catch Albania out as much as possible.
Livramento with the anticipation. Gordon, good stuff. What's the ball in like? Can't find a teammate. Kara after this. Is it going to be a rare foray into England territory? Not for now, it's not.
Well, they really are camped in, aren't they? They just can't get out. And I think early on in the game, which you'd more or less expect, is that they will sit back, try and soak up as much pressure, try and really frustrate England.
Helped on by Madueke. Balogun's after it. Keeper has to come and has dealt with it very comfortably indeed.
Well, absolutely excellent, casual as you like. Just brings it down and takes two players out of the whole situation, particularly when he was under pressure. Excellent.
Very assured sweeper keeper activity as Jones now feeds Gordon. Johnson. His first taste of under-21's action this evening. Look how high up the England backline are.
Well, that's how they got caught out, because they can afford to play high up. They've almost got one centre-half just sitting back, and it looks like it is Taylor Howard-Bellis just protecting that back line.
Johnson. Feel it's a matter of when, not if, England find a way through. Gordon, teasing delivery, just a bit too high. Mitai got an important head to it.
Well, the problem is Albania have got every single man behind the ball. And yes, that cross has to be inch perfect.
And Ghana, in fact, Gibbs-White tried to get it in, but couldn't do so. Well, Albania are fourth in Group G, 3 wins and 4 defeats so far. Only behind Slovenia on goal difference, and 4 points adrift of England, although they have played 2 games more. Come into this on the back of 3 straight losses after that narrow loss to the Czech Republic here on Friday, after a 3-0 defeat away to Slovenia and a late 2-1 loss in Kosovo as well last month. Here is Madueke again. Almost a bit too clever for his own good. Ghana. Livramento. Not ideal for Ghana, but England have kept it going. Jones. Gordon. Well, it has been one-way traffic so far. Ghana. Livramento gets the ball in dangerously. Balogun couldn't make anything of it. And Albania appealing for and getting the free kick for the challenge by Balogun.
Well, it's got to be something special if you're throwing it in the box. It has to be one of the midfielders driving in. There's only Balogun that's in there on his own. Just hear Lee Carsley just sending on the instructions of movement. It's going to be so important in this game that one of them midfielders goes and joins in.
Well, England making it a half-century of qualifiers without defeat. Ashley Cole, part of the coaching setup alongside Lee Carsley, still continuing his role with the Chelsea Academy as well, the man who won over 100 caps for England.
I think it's great when you've got the experience of the likes of Ashley Cole, Joleon Lescott, that's amongst that, and obviously Lee Carsley. You put all them caps together, you've got so much that can sort of give these young, talented boys so much advice, so it's fantastic to see.
Lee Carsley still yet to lose a competitive game as under-21s coach. The only defeat came in that friendly in November. Here's Mitai. This is rare feeling for Albania, some possession in the England half, but it quickly comes to an end, and that's perhaps quickly going to lead to a yellow card, because Mitai knew exactly what he was doing there.
Yeah, he did, and Madueke was definitely getting away from him. Just felt that Albania were certainly exposed. I think it's one of them good fouls that you claim.
Normally it's met with a yellow card.
Well, I actually felt that it was a yellow card, particularly the way he pulled him back, and he's on the charge, he's on the attack.
Madueke, Ghana, England in as much control as he can be when the score is still 0-0. Jones. And again. It is a red wall that is meeting England as they advance. Gordon trying to help penetrate it here. I thought he was waiting for Johnson to get on the end of it. In the end, Kalai gets his head to it. Helped further clear by Ndreka. How ambitious do they want to be? Dobra to Kara. Here is Dobra again. It's a bit better from Albania. Mitai.
Oh, 23 minutes in, and this is one of the second times we've really seen them forcing up the field, and it's definitely a plan in their play, isn't there? I mean, you've seen moments ago there was 7 at the back, just trying to protect that defensive area where it was only Balogun that was in there. So you can see that they're getting back in their haunches, and when they get that little bit of free play, they're looking to counter-attack England.
Gordon has gone for it, and Simoni, who was very safe with his work earlier to deny Gordon's free kick, had a nervy moment or two there. The 17-year-old who is between the sticks for Albania this evening. Colwell, and a rare touch for Joseph Bursic. Ambitious, and Gibbs White couldn't bring it under his spell.
Well, that's another thing that England were certainly looking to do in these two games, is that, yes, having plenty of play, but sometimes having to play that direct pass. It tries to stretch back 4, back 5, back sevens even, just to see if they can play high up the pitch, and that allows the midfield to go and squeeze on the edge of the box.
Lee Carsey was talking about how he hopes to have more attacking options for the crucial qualifiers coming up in June. Just the one natural centre-forward in Balogun available at the moment, with Ryan Brewster out for the rest of the season with a hamstring injury. There was some talk in the media that he might play with a false number 9 this evening. But the key message he was keen to stress throughout is that they need to be more ruthless, even though they racked up 4 goals against Andorra.
Yeah, well, they really do, and I feel that, yes, it's okay playing with that false 9. I do feel when you're doing that week in, week out, and you can work with the players that you've got at your peril, it's not always the case, is it? And with Balogun just being that only real identified centre-forward, I just feel he's the obvious choice, particularly with the more attacking flair players. When you look at the likes of Harvey Elliott, who does play it wide, you've got Gordon as well. Madueke certainly can go and play more central.
Madueke's helped to work it to Livramento here. Livramento out-muscled by Mario Mitai. Looks like he's up for a scrap this evening. Albania might have a bit of a score to settle. England won 5-0 at Molineux in November 2020. Eddie Nketiah with a double. He also missed a penalty in that game. Hudson-Odoi and James Justin and Jamal Musiala scored as well. England had already qualified at that stage. It ended Albania's hopes, though, of making it through. And Albania under the pump once again here, and England have a corner.
Yeah, it's excellent as well. You talk about patient approach. It was really good play, just trying to float that ball into the back post. Morgan Gibbs-White hasn't really had enough ball for me. We're talking 27 minutes in and only seen little glimpses of him. He was so effective on Friday.
Balogun. Tossed in, but nowhere near a white shirt from Livramento. Here's Gordon. Johnson. Again, the final ball, if you're going to be critical so far of England, is what has been lacking.
I think the problem is that because there's so many red shirts back there, you don't really want to flash something just across the box. You're trying to pick someone out in particular, and it's difficult. I think sometimes you have to mix it up. Sometimes it has to be just flashed into an area and expect one of them England shirts to get on the end of just a tainted cross into the 6-yard area.
Fisted clear by Simone. Madueke. And he's being tugged, and he's, you can see, getting ever more frustrated by it, and he'll be even more frustrated at that attempted quick free kick.
You know, that's the second challenge on Madueke. I think there's got to be a yellow card issued on that next one.
Still yet to score for the under-21s, has bagged 6 goals in 26 games for PSV Eindhoven this season. Noni Madueke. There is Madueke with the header. Jones felt he was nudged, referee didn't, but England have it anyway. Well, they did at least, and that will be a free kick.
That's Garner just getting a little bit frustrated. I think he went for a cheeky little nutmegs in that midfield area and then just gives the ball away.
Dobra with the big switch. Albania could be in round the back for the first time, and in fact they've managed to, well, I thought they'd managed to manufacture a corner from the situation. As it is, the skipper was unable to do anything with it.
It's good defending in the end from England. That's where they really need to be on their guard, because all the good play they've had getting into that final third can easily get caught out.
Gordon. Bit of room for Madueke. Again, though, concertinaed out of it, and then he's taken it behind.
Well, you can see he's just trying to create a little bit of that space where he can go and drive into the box. I'm just wondering whether there might be a little switch. Gordon coming on this right-hand side and Madueke going on the left, where I felt he was excellent on Friday. I'm just looking at Morgan Gibbs-White as well. He seems to be playing a little bit more advanced rather than playing in that 10.
Alban Bushi, the Albania coach, said yesterday when he spoke to the media that the message has been that they should not go where England have their strongest weapons. They shouldn't leave them enough space. They shouldn't fight them one-on-one because they'll be too strong for them. They have to play fast and with short passes and push as much when it's 0-0 as possible to make life as tricky as possible for England. With half an hour gone, I'd say it's pretty much working out that way.
It's not a bad message, that's for sure. I think they've done it particularly well. Simone in goal's been very good. He's come and dominated at times when he's had to. And the back line, well, it has been back 4, it's been back 5. There's been all sorts of numbers in there. And they have tried to play out like this. Just haven't got the quality that maybe England have got.
Well, it will be seen as a moral success for Albania to have negotiated the opening half an hour. Madueke trying to stealing round the back. Ghana turning into trouble. And he's got it back, but he hasn't got the free kick. Good closing down by Jones. Well, just when you thought that might be an opportunity for Ndreka to get forwards, they've retreated all the way back to Simone. Simone with the long switch, Mitai challenging for it. England collecting with Harwood-Bellis. Now Levi Colwill. Johnson. Back for Harwood-Bellis. Ghana. Again, just look at all those red shirts back there. It's a congested half of the pitch for England to try and navigate.
Yeah, well, they do it so well. You can see that when they have good possession, they will squeeze out. But when they haven't got the ball, you can see how well organised they are. They are literally fixated in them positions defensively. Midfield are all the way back, almost on the toes of that defensive line. And then it's just asking the question, come and break us down.
And it was a question that the group leaders, the Czech Republic, found tough to answer. Only nudging past them by a 0-0 and an own goal at that on Friday. Madueke's dug out the cross well, though, and Gordon would have been onto it had it not been for Marku tracking back.
Well, it was a brilliant delivery into that back post. Just seeing Gordon just coming in as you'd expect as a wide man. Again, excellent defending from Albania.
Alban Bushi was so proud of the performance against the Czech Republic. One of the best matches under his coaching, in his words. He watched the whole match back with their staff in detail. He felt that they didn't do anything wrong in terms of tactics. They just made 2 individual mistakes. And the first actual shot on goal that the Czechs had didn't come until 9 minutes from time. So luck just wasn't on their side, which meant they could come into this with confidence that they could face up to England. And having weathered an early storm, he will be delighted that their goal remains intact.
Well, there's a formula, there's a style in place. And that's the fact, is that, yes, it can look very ugly at times, but there's a stage in the game where you push that button and say, yes, can we go and ask questions the other end?
If it gets scrappy, that will suit the home side better. Salmani, nothing scrappy about that. Pass left a bit to be desired. Colville should be able to deal with it. Here's Livramento. Madueke won't be able to latch on.
Just sense a little bit of frustration. That's because the quality's just filtering out of this England side, and I do feel that Albania are just upping it a notch, making it difficult.
I mentioned that England are unbeaten in their last 50 qualifiers, including playoff matches. 43 wins, 7 draws, but worth just pointing out that they did lose their last away game. It was a friendly, 3-2 away to Georgia in November. It's a game they were 3-0 down in until the 81st minute as well. Here's Balogun. Jones. And that's wild.
Yeah, very wild. Expect a lot better from Curtis Jones. Did just open up a touch for England as well. Balogun doing excellent, making that run, and then just square little pass to Curtis Jones, and real poor effort.
He picked up his first under-21 cap since October on Friday, and here he is again looking to try and pick up a goal. Gordon did well. Madueke. Livramento. Madueke again. That's a handy cross, and it'll be a corner. Could have been more for England.
Yeah, it was a real good opportunity for England to go and capitalise and stick that ball in the back of the net. There was an overload, and then it just ran out, and you can see again how well defensively Albania get back in their numbers and make it really difficult for England. Really limited options and opportunities this evening.
Corner is not good. Livramento. Balogun came off him last. Well, you wouldn't say that Albania are finishing the first half strongly, but England are certainly tailing off a bit compared to how they began the game.
Well, they are, and I say there will be elements of frustration. You do feel that when the key players are not causing problems. We've seen that early on in the game. They are working very hard off the ball. But you know that there is going to be that frustration level. It's all about doing what you're doing well. That's moving the ball, still having that movement, still believing that you can break this real solid back five down.
Gordon is brought down, and will that be a card? The referee hasn't produced a yellow so far. And that's one that falls into the category of seen him given.
Well, it's a definite yellow card for me, because he's going towards a direct attacking area. And that's 2 now that I've seen. It certainly should be in the book.
Organa, who, as I say, has been on point for Nottingham Forest this season when it's come to dead ball deliveries, is over this one. And doesn't deliver on this occasion.
Well, there's been 2, 3, 4 maybe, but we just haven't seen good delivery. Corners, yeah, set play there, really good area.
Madueke. It's the man who's looked the most likely to find a way through, and he's kept the ball. Can he find a teammate? Oh, they're asking for handball there, which, if it's not given straight away, they're not going to get, because there is no video referee in operation.
Madueke has been excellent, he really has. He's offered that threat, that directness.
Gordon. trying to be direct himself, going the long way round. Garner. Now Livramento, 4 in the area. Livramento just delayed. Here he is again, though. Keeps it going. Garner, chance to swing it in. And safely gathered by Simone.
Yeah, too many times we're seeing balls that are played into the box and very, very poor. Very poor. Good situations, lots of bodies in there. No end product.
That's the thing, they've had good possession. They've got themselves into some good positions as well, but when they've got there, that's when they've let themselves down.
I think, as I said, it's trying to be too picky. At times it has to be just putting into an area, and you have to depend on movement.
This would be a real sucker punch if Albania were to do something just before half-time. Oh, but, Teddy Kara is so careless there. He'd kept it in and then allowed it to go out.
Well, he's just issued a yellow card to Johnson, and I cannot believe I've just seen that. It's his first challenge, and we've seen 2, maybe 3 that have been a hell of a lot worse. And straight away, he was quick to get the book out and issuing the yellow card, which I just think is very, very poor. I know there was a coming together, but he actually slipped. He's got no contact at all. So for me, I'm absolutely mind-boggled.
Well, as Lee said, considering some of the things that have been let go, that is a shocker from the Swedish official, Kasper Furberg.
I think there has to be that consistency, doesn't it, that flows through.
Now, are they going to test Joseph Bursic for the first time? Wouldn't really call it a test, but he did have something to do. This is Livramento. Final minutes of a frustrating first half for England. They've had all of the ball, but only that one real taxing save for Simone to make from that Gordon free kick.
I just don't feel that England have had enough of that in midfield for me today. When I compare the game to Friday evening, there was a real good bounce and a good energy that made that front area tick. Haven't seen enough of Morgan Gibbs-White, haven't seen enough of Gordon, even Balogun. I think the only one that stands out is Madueke, who's been brilliant when he's got the ball, but they have got the ball to him as much as possible, maybe. So he has had the most service.
Gordon. Madueke was the target, doesn't reach him though, because Ismail Jetsi was in situ. Colwell. Johnson. It's easy enough for England to get close to the Albanian area, but then it all seems to fall apart.
Well, the problem is you're seeing there Balogun's coming deep and receiving the ball because he's not getting enough service. You want him to stay in there and be that number 9 because he's the central point for England.
Madueke. Garner. Gordon. Gordon into the challenge, but Dobra has managed to help it on for Marku, who's kept it in as well. Here goes the Albania skipper. Albion Marku still going. Whites of his eyes lit up there.
That was good play from Marku, just really bursting out on that counter-attack, and there wasn't enough bodies there for him to maybe pick a centre-forward out or an attack in midfield. I think some tired legs in that first half. They worked really hard off the ball and defended well.
Madueke, final minute of normal time in the first half. He had to go the scenic route. Jones to Gordon. And now Balogun. Angle always against him. He's managed to keep the ball well, though. Garner wants it on the edge. Oh, and he and Livramento left it for each other. Livramento works it on. Will Garner get there? He won't.
Balogun did really well in the box. You could see the Albanian defenders didn't really want to go make that tackle, particularly being late on in this first half. They didn't want to make any mistakes.
Well, just the 1 minute to be added on. England have made light work of Albania in the previous qualifying encounters, but are set to go in all square at half-time in their latest encounter. No foul. Gordon on his bike here. Beautiful control as well. The cross, just a bit too much in front of Madueke, but it was excellent stuff from Anthony Gordon.
It really was, winning the ball back in his own half and driving in to that final third. But that just sums up England's first half performance, just not enabling to pick out a striker, beat Madueke, making that run into the box.
Well, England have their fate in their own hands in terms of qualifying, but they have hit a bit of a stumbling block so far here in Albania. No goals for Lee Carsley's side in the first 45 minutes, and certainly some work to do. Nowhere near the cruise that it was against Andorra on the south coast of England on Friday. Half-time here, it's Albania 0, England 0. Welcome back to the Elbasan Arena then, where it is 0-0 between the England under-21s and Albania's under-21s. England looking to reduce the gap on the Czech Republic back to 3 points once again. But they'll need to find a bit more of a cutting edge to try and convert their pressure and possession into a lead. Armando Dobra will get the second half underway for an Albanian side who have been extremely well organised and disciplined, if lacking in much of a goal threat themselves. No changes from either coach at the half-time. Lee Hendry, has had a bit of a surprise, especially from Lee Carsley's perspective?
Yeah, I think he certainly would have looked at maybe making a change. I think it might be 15 minutes into the second half where he might see if anything changes. I think he'll be just asking that little bit more from his England side, a little bit more, as you said, cutting edge. I just feel that's what they've lacked in that final third. So I think it will be 15, 20 minutes in, and maybe we will see a little bit of a change. Might just need a little bit of a spark.
Well, Gordon just a bit too eager to get forwards there. Albania may have lost their last three, but prior to that, they had won 3 of their opening 4 games in this qualifying group, beating Andorra home and away, and also winning at home to Slovenia. The one loss in that time was a 4-0 defeat away to the current group leaders, Czech Republic. So have shown that they're not just a free hit.
Well, I think they're more than capable of scoring goals, and I think the way they set up, you know, they are very well organised defensively. They have got flair players in the advanced area, but I think it's picking the times, and that's what they've done. And that's why it's given them that little bit of success.
Success for Gibbs-White in winning possession there. Balogun could be in. Great goal. England finally find a way through, and it's Flo Balogun who has done the business for England right at the start of the second half. Just what the doctor ordered for Lee Carsley. The pressure pays off. Albania 0, England 1.
Well, we touched on cutting edge. That had everything amongst it. Brilliant play into the forward area. And it's a super little reverse pass from Madueke. Great bit of movement from Balogun. Just gets away from his markers, finds himself 1v1 with Simone. And I tell you what, it's a brilliant finish. They are looking for offside. There's no chance. It's a brilliant, well-executed goal. Really good build-up. And that round of applause, well, it was well worthy of it.
So Balogun gets his 3rd goal for the under-21s, and it is a precious one for the under-21s as well.
Well, it's Madueke who just came into that central area that we've seen him pick up every now and then in that first half. And the pass, well, it was first class into Balogun. And then it's just all about the finish, and he tucks it home nicely.
Well, he has scored in all of the games he's started in this qualifying campaign. One against Andorra on Friday, and also against the Czech Republic in November, and now another this evening away to Albania.
Well, this just might open the game up a little bit, because Albania will have to come out. I don't think they'll just throw everything at it, but I think we will start to see cracks appearing.
Albania need to find a goal, and they might take a bit of encouragement from the fact that England haven't exactly been watertight defensively. Just 6 clean sheets in their last 28 games. Stretches back to November 2018. The only clean sheets they've kept in that time: 3 against Kosovo, 1 against Andorra, and interestingly, 2 against Albania.
As I said, they're more than capable of asking questions, and I think Albania will certainly ask questions in this second half, particularly going 1-0 down. Again, I do feel they'll pick the times to get forward. They had little bits of spells in that first half where it enabled them to squeeze a little bit higher up the pitch. Already you can see there's more red shirts in England's half.
Well, Balogun was one of the scorers on Friday, and afterwards there was a couple of questions about where his future might lie, especially with the FA having recently seen Jamal Musiala and Yunus Musa switch allegiances after they played through the England youth ranks, and Balogun is eligible to represent the USA and Nigeria as well, but he seemed to suggest that he would remain an England player. Said he doesn't see it as a difficult decision. The big thing with international football is simply to follow your heart.
It's a good point. I could have played for Scotland, so I think I made the right choice, even though I've only got the 1 cap.
It's still 1 more than a lot of other people. Good pressure here from Jones, and England could be in again. It's Jones, it's 2. And England now have clear daylight between themselves and Albania. It took a while, but they are stretching clear now, and they are closing the gap on the Czech Republic and keeping their qualification hopes well within their own hands. Curtis Jones with the latest goal. Albania 0, England 2.
Well, there's times to play out, and yes, you want to keep hold of the ball, and from the Albanian front, that's what they were trying to do. But I love the high press here. Curtis Jones knows that they're vulnerable. Look, they're so exposed. And then it's a real good challenge in that central area, and then finds himself 1v1. That's what you get from high press. And then the composure, well, it's first class, and it just gives England that little bit of comfort.
Curtis Jones with his 3rd goal for the under-21s on his 9th cap. He was sent off the last time he scored for the under-21s. That was in the group stage draw with Croatia at the finals last year. But after a frustrating first 45 minutes, England now in a very comfortable position.
Well, it did need that extra 10-15% from England, particularly going forward. I know they have worked hard. They do like to high press, particularly when teams do want to try and keep the ball.
Well, that's a strong challenge, but a fair one. Madueke loses out, though. England just need to ensure that they don't lose concentration, because they have got this game firmly in their grasp. And a deflected hit forces the first save of the game for Joseph Bursic.
Well, it was a difficult one, wasn't it? Just deflected off. Might have been James Garner who went to go and engage and stop the shot that was going towards goal. That's what made it a little bit difficult for Bursic. Just made sure that it wasn't going near goal. Just parries it wide.
Corner taken quickly, and England almost caught out. But now, here they come on the counter. Balogun. Balogun being wrestled there.
Well, I felt the only ball was on for Gordon. You just seen him on the left-hand side. They're certainly exposed. That was a real key time to go and maybe counter-attack and possibly get that 3rd goal. We missed the opportunity. Done well just to ride the foul. I just felt that Gordon was on the move. Just flashed that ball down the left-hand side for him.
England making inroads again here. Garner sniffing around. It's come the way of Kara instead. And then far too much fizz from Armando Dobra. So gathered by Joseph Bursic, who's looking for a not frequent enough clean sheet this evening. He started 4 of the previous 5 in Group G, just the 1 shutout so far. Hasn't had much to do in the game, but did his job well with that deflected effort. Ismail Jetsi trying to get it up towards the front line, but again, it breaks down for Albania.
It's important that England do keep that intensity. I think that was one thing that stood out on Friday, that second half really dropped off, some sloppy passage of play. Got to keep that ball flowing at a good pace.
And they won 2-0 in their first 2 home games in the group, Albania, then lost 1-0 to the Czech Republic on Friday. Their last home defeat before that was against England in November 2019. And Simone lost his composure there. And we're going to see Jed Spence come on for England. It's been impressing for Nottingham Forest this season, on loan from Middlesbrough. His first call-up to the squad, and it's going to see him earn his first cap as well, with Tino Livramento departing.
Well, I've been really impressed with Jed Spence this season. A real bite and an edge to his game. I do like the fact that he does go and join in, so very light for light with Livramento.
He's got a mean hit on him as well, has Jed Spence.
Well, he will play high up the pitch and he will be almost a wing-back. He's got so much ability, puts good delivery into the box, and as you said, he's not afraid to have a shot.
Dobra. Can Albania pose any questions of England? After this, England are away to the Czech Republic at the start of June in what is a crucial encounter. This would narrow the gap on the Czechs to 3 points, with England still having 2 games in hand. Balogun bit off a bit more than he could chew. Dobra was back there once again. He's been very busy for Albania this evening, Armando Dobra.
Yeah, he has been the standout player for Albania. He wants to get on the ball, dropping into them little areas where he can be effective. At times he's been on the left and the right-hand side, and also in that central area where he's trying to make something happen.
On loan at Colchester from Ipswich Town is Armando Dobra. Here's Spence. Now Jones. Dobra. Kara. There's 2 buzzing around him and can't deal with the pressure, so Colwill sends it back to Bursic.
England just seem to have stepped off the gas, having get that second goal from Curtis Jones.
That's looking for Spence, who's taken it beautifully. Spence, well, you could see what the plan was between him and Madueke, but it didn't quite come off. Dobra. Oh, Balogun nearly in. Gordon. Nudged out of it by Teddy Kara. There's Dobra once again. Marku. And All the way back to Simone. Colwill with some tidy work again. Now it's Jones. Jed Spence. I know you were saying, Lee, that there was just a bit more pace when Doyle was playing on the Friday through the middle of the park, and England have been just that tiny bit slower and a bit more cautious when they've had the ball.
Well, it seems that way today. I just feel that when you've got that driving, a more central role who gets on the ball, first thought is where he wants to go, and that's into wide areas, and Doyle did it really well at times. Curtis Jones, for all the ability he's got, I just think sometimes he turns that pass down and he wants another touch, and that's where you just get that little bit of urgency. The problem is that Albania will sit back, as like Andorra will, but the quicker you get to the ball to them destinations and the more vital areas, well, these are the situations that occur.
Trying to play out from the back again here, Albania, and it was almost costly into the final half an hour. And England looking comfortable. Dobra again, trying to pull the strings. Back here for Albion Marku. Not like a hand in there. Colwill intercepts once again. He's been getting some rave reviews from Huddersfield, where he's on loan from Chelsea at the moment. Levi Colwill, one of the members of staff there, saying that he's the best he's ever seen at his age.
Yeah, very good play. I've seen him play a fair bit this season. Again, some of these young boys that are coming onto the scene, going out to championship football clubs and really learning their trade. Starting to get witness that they can go and perform at higher levels.
Flick through here for Balogun. There's another, and that will do it for England. Florin Balogun at the double, and England have the 3 points in the bag now. Flo Balogun, who has not needed much of a sighter to find the back of the net, has produced two predatory finishes to put England firmly in charge of this game now. Albania 0, England 3.
Well, the ball from Morgan Gibbs-White is absolutely exquisite. And you just see the movement from Balogun, just spins away. He knows they're on the same wavelength. That's what I've seen that's probably stood out in this second half, is that Balogun's played through the middle, where you want him. That's where he's at danger, and that's why he's got 2 goals and a really good, well-executed finish from Balogun.
Well, Lee Carsey was talking about the fact that he only has the one out-and-out central striker available in Florin Balogun, but not a bad one to have given the form he's been in for the under-21s. That is now 4 goals in his 3 starts, and there could be more for England here. Gibbs-White and Balogun for the hat-trick, just hesitated.
Well, I think Morgan Gibbs-White was giving him the shout to say, you go and get your hat-trick, rather than going himself. And I think there was just lack of communication. That's why it broke down, but so much better from England. Playing on the front foot, really good passages of play. Just carving the back 4 open now from Albania. Look very tired.
Well, the last player to score a hat-trick for the under-21s was Eddie Nketiah, who got a treble in September of 2020. Simon Simone, the 17-year-old keeper, seems to be in a spot of bother here.
Well, he has been one of their standout players as well, and I don't think he could do an awful lot about the 3 goals that he's conceded, but anything else that's gone into him, his first touch has been good. Great bit of play in that first half, but you do hope he's okay. It looks like he may have just jarred a knee there. This just coming together, wasn't it? That was possibly the incident where he might have just caught his knee. He just felt that a little bit of understanding between Morgan Gibbs-White and Balogun. possibly could have ended up being a fourth.
England hoping to reach a 9th tournament in succession. They already hold the national record for successive qualifications at this level. Last failed to qualify for the 2006 tournament under Peter Taylor, and they went out in the playoff against France. They could still end up in the playoffs, of course, for the finals that are being played in Romania and Georgia next year. 53 teams in this qualifying setup for the remaining 14 slots after those co-hosts get their places. Final round of group stage games are in June, and then the playoffs are in September. It's the 9 group winners and the best runner-up who qualified directly, and then the 8 other runners-up are in those playoffs to determine the 4 remaining finalists. England would move to within 3 points of the Czech Republic with a victory, as they seem set to get here. And Simon Simoni is going to have to go off.
And it is from the challenge here, I feel. Balogun, and if he just stands on the ankle, whether it's that trailing knee that just seems to come away, does look in some discomfort.
And it's his third appearance at this level for the 17-year-old. And it ends after 65 minutes of action.
Well, it's not nice to see, is it, when a young player getting stretchered off? You do hope everything's okay. The precautions are certainly so important for these young footballers.
He plays his club football not too far away from here for the capital club, Dinamo Tirana. And the replacement keeper wasn't quite ready for his call-up. Puja here. Gloves now at the ready for Bruno Puja, who is picking up his first cap for the under-21s.
I'm pretty sure that Lee Carsley will be getting a message on to make sure they're testing him. Wasn't quite ready in the dugout. Has to be ready coming on the field of play.
He's made a couple of appearances for the under-17 side. That was a long, long time ago, though, back in qualifying for the 2016 tournament. Didn't have a happy time either. They lost 5-0 at home to the Netherlands and were beaten 2-0 away in Switzerland. Also making a change outfield player-wise. Sila will step in for Ismail Jetsi. Well, a quarter of the 90 minutes to go, and a professional job being done by England. Ghana for Spence. Colwell. Johnson. Harwood Bellis. Harwood Bellis again. Here's Jones. Jones. Neatly done. Waiting for an option.
You can already see that Albania again, they're just sitting back and they don't want to concede any more goals. I don't think they're even looking to go and get on the score sheet at all. Pretty much like that first half, they're organised, they're set back, trying to make it hard for England.
Spence got it in well, but met by Sergio Calai and behind for a corner.
I think sometimes I don't quite understand when you're trailing from behind, is that why don't you go and ask the question? Why don't you go and see what England's defence is actually like?
It's looking for the run round the back, and the flag now goes up to signal that it did go behind.
Well, it was an excellent pick out and a fantastic run from midfield.
The new keeper opting to go short. Again, the England press has forced the ball out of play.
I think that's what's impressed me, particularly in this second half, is that England have pressed high. They have really gone and engaged, which has not allowed Albania to come out from the back, and that's where Curtis Jones's goal did come from. Whether that message was, certainly spoke about at half-time, is that just allow them to have that ball in the back line and then go and push and squeeze.
Colwill for England. Gibbs White lets it run. Anthony Gordon. Gibbs White. Jones. Ghana bypass. Johnson for Gordon. Anthony Gordon. Again, that sea of red sending him wide. Ghana. Oh, that's a lovely pass, and Balogun just caught on his heels slightly, otherwise it might have been the hat-trick.
Yeah, it was almost an unbelievable pick out from James Garner. Patient approach from England. And as you said, Balogun just caught on his heels, not really expecting that pass to come through. Have dominated a lot of the ball, England.
Jones, England will be being told by Lee Carsley to push on for more. He kept on using that word ruthless when he was analysing the performance against Andorra. They won 4-1, but he wanted more. 3-0 up at the moment, he'll still want more.
Yeah, he will, and that's what's expected. Some really good talent on show here, and just seeing there, Curtis Jones just really slowing the ball down again, where he can play that ball into an area where it can set Albania back on their haunches again. At times it's just a little bit too slow on the approach.
Here is Curtis Jones. Now Gordon. Jones trying to inject a bit of pace into it, but Balogun couldn't give him the return pass. Johnson. You can see Gordon's frustration. Balogun tries to keep it going for England. Well won by Jones. Ghana. Here's Jed Spence. It's almost a training feel to it now for England. Jones was clattered there. Be a free kick. Is there finally going to be a yellow card for an Albanian? Doesn't look like it.
Well, what was the difference between Johnson's tackle in that first half? There's absolutely no difference whatsoever. So me, it should be a yellow card. Real poor decision again.
Well, it isn't going to cost England, at least. Ghana. Oh, handy ball. Gordon didn't quite read it. He's got it, though. Jones. Now Spence. And Madueke felt that he was entitled to get the free kick there, and you can understand that.
Well, he was clearly body checked as he had his first touch, and that's why he's got his arms in the air asking the referee why.
Albania were harbouring hopes of qualifying for the European Championship for the first ever time. But their hopes will be pretty much killed off by this defeat. Lee Carsley making another switch now as well, with the game already in the bag. He was talking about how he wanted to ensure that players got as much rest as possible with respect to their club sides. Angel Gomez came on from the bench on Friday, and it's going to be another late cameo from him this evening as well.
Well, he's one that will definitely bring a spark and certainly forward thought play. He was very good when he came on Friday as well.
Well, Morgan Gibbs-White has done well when he's had the ball this evening, but hasn't seen a great deal of it.
Yeah, at times he hasn't got, well, he has got into positions, but not really received the ball. Not as effective as Friday, but certainly had a part to play in this performance and the result so far.
Angel Gomez only made his under-21s debut as a sub in October. He was also on as a late sub against Andorra on Friday, as Lee was saying. Joined Lille on a free transfer back in the summer of 2020. Scored a couple of goals for them this season, one of them in the Champions League against Wolfsburg. Here's Levi Colwell. Ghana. Johnson makes the offer, but the whistle has gone. And we're all a bit unsure why.
I'm not sure that it was Gordon that might have had a little bit of an off the ball. It's the only thing I can consider or even think of.
There goes Marku again, and he's offside.
Well, they haven't really offered anything going forward, and when you think of the chances or even the balls that have been put into areas that have enabled them to put balls into the box, very, very limited, and that's credit to England. They have dominated the pretty much percentage of the ball throughout the game.
Obviously it could be, well, it will be a very busy June for the under-21s, with all those qualifiers still to come. The Czech Republic, Albania again, Kosovo and Slovenia are on the agenda between the 3rd and the 14th of June. And if they are short of central strikers, as Lee Carsley has pointed out they are at the moment, it might mean dipping down a few of the youth levels to give some others a go. He name-checked a few players, didn't he, when he was talking about that, with Delap, one of those that was mentioned in dispatches. Dane Scarlett at Tottenham as well, also a name that was mentioned.
And I think if you're going to go there, you may as well go down that route. I feel a lot of the boys that do play on the 21 level then venture into the first team. Are you quite getting everything you want out of them? And that's where you might get that little bit more hunger out of the younger boys. Touched on Delap, some player. Plenty of good young players still wanting to prove a point. Maybe not playing as much at first team level, but I think they're the ones that really do have a point to prove.
Yeah, he just mentioned that while there are 5 or so quality number 9s that will potentially push the more established members of this squad, he also said that this level that they're trying to get them to is fairly unforgiving if they're not quite ready for it. Marku. 10 minutes to go then for England in what has developed into a second half stroll after a frustrating first 45.
Well, it's one of them games that is a potential banana skin, isn't it, really? And the way things were going first half, well, you thought it was going to get more difficult as the half went on.
Well, yellow card is belatedly out for one of the men in red, and it's Jürgen Chelhacker who goes in the book.
I thought he had to have one, particularly from that first challenge, which I felt he should have had in the first place. Very reluctant to get the card out.
Well, given that he's on a hat-trick, you'd have thought that Flo Balogun may have gone across to pull rank, but he's made his way into the area. And going to see another change, perhaps before the free kick is taken. Well, they're queuing up there, aren't they? Literally. Looks as though it's Gordon to strike. Anthony Gordon gets the corner. That might give Lee Carsley the opportunity to make the switch. Keane Lewis Potter is going to get his first cap for the under-21s. Wait to see who will be withdrawn, and in fact they might wait until after the corner is taken. Madueke penalised. And it will be Madueke who goes off, in fact.
Well, he has been pretty quiet in this second half in comparison to the first half, so you can see White just rest the legs up and give Keane Lewis Potter an opportunity. Very, very good talent, having a great season at Hull City.
So on comes the Hull forward, Keane Lewis Potter then. 8 goals and 3 assists in his 39 championship games for Hull this season. As Lee was saying, he has impressed. He got 15 goals in their promotion campaign last term as well.
When Jared Bowen left the football club to go to West Ham and gone on to far better things, I think he's the next one that is certainly in the range that Premier League clubs will be looking at, because he's been truly remarkable again in that creativity area, and he's definitely got goals in him.
Well, England have had goals in them eventually today as well, and it keeps up their pretty regular scoring run. They've now scored in 30 of their last 32 matches. The only blanks in that time were against Switzerland and Portugal at the actual finals in 2021. Spence just really likes to have the ball, but he couldn't quite make it happen the way he wanted to. Jones. Now Spence. Back to Jones. Not sure if it was a go at goal or not, but it didn't quite work out. Here's Albanian Marku. And they wanted a foul against Gordon there, which they don't get, and England end up getting a goal kick.
Well, credit to England as well. When Albania have tried to go on the counter-attack, they've got back, they've chased back, and they've got back into their units.
England heading for only a 7th clean sheet in their last 29 games, and almost half of them would have come against Albania if they can see out the remaining time here.
I think that's equally as important as well, is that they've been disappointed to concede on Friday, and again, clean sheets, so important to the back four, the goalkeeper. So it'll be important that they keep this scoreline the way it is, if not more.
Yeah, Joseph Bursic with just the one in the 4 games he's played in Group G so far in terms of clean sheets. Edging towards another shutout here. Hasn't had a great deal to do, but did make one smart save in the second half. Gomez. And again. Well, you can hear the shout of substitution there. Bebeziki and Mehmet Latari are the pair who are being brought on. Teddy Kara has not been able to make things happen on that left flank for Albania this evening. And Jürgen Chelhaka has had a quiet game in the centre of the park as well. Balogun having his shirt pulled there, perhaps. Keeps it going for now. Gordon. Jones. Nice turn by Gomez. Jones. As you say, Lee, he's just injected a bit of extra energy into proceedings. Here's Gordon now. Gomez. Gordon. Not quite.
Yeah, clever play from Angel Gomez, just trying to feed that ball back into Gordon's path. Just probably wasn't expecting it. Sometimes maybe just trying to walk it in. I felt that Gomez could have just maybe opened up and had an attempt at goal himself. He's in the 18-yard box.
Well, it's going to be 11 unanswered goals for England against Albania if it stays like this. It'll be a repeat of the scoreline when they last met in the country. That was in November 2019. Phil Foden with a fine free kick before goals from Conor Gallagher, who was on loan at Charlton at the time of that game, and a stoppage time strike from Reece Nelson, giving England the 3-0 win on that occasion. This time around, it's a double from Balogun and a strike from Curtis Jones.
You do feel that there's a lot more to come from this under-21 side as well. You do feel that there's plenty more in the forward area. I think at times they could really blow sides away. And that's the important message that Lee Carrs is trying to get over to his side.
Gordon chasing this one. Is there a final flourish for England? Gordon, beautifully done. Oh, Gordon, it's wonderful. And it was nearly a magnificent 4th goal for England.
Well, he did everything absolutely spot on, Anthony Gordon, and the pick out, the big diagonal, and gets by his marker very easy and then takes another one out. I just thought he could have maybe passed that across to Balogun, but it was all set up for him.
Jones, good ball. Deserved better, really. It was into a very inviting area. Harwood Bellis arriving just a bit too late in the day.
Yes, a super ball in from Curtis Jones, very deep, going towards the goal area.
Forced back towards his own goal, Dobra. England still look hungry. Colwell nipping in. Marku crunched by Gordon. That's a free kick.
Well, he had every right to go and make the tackle. He actually does get enough ball. I think there's a little bit of a slip there from Marku.
So this would move England back to within 3 points of the Czech Republic, and the next game is Czech Republic against England. That one taking place at the start of June. After that, England host Albania, then they go to Kosovo before finishing off at home to Slovenia.
Well, that's the big standout game, isn't it? That you just feel with England having the games in hand. These games are so important. They keep picking them off if they are to go and qualify, and then it's all about doing it when they qualify.
That's been the big disappointment, hasn't it, that they've qualified for the last 8 final tournaments, but they haven't won a championship knockout match since the current format was introduced in 2002. No free kick. Albania looking for a consolation. They'll have 5 minutes to try and fashion one. Marku. And stood up well by Johnson, who concedes the corner.
Yeah, good defending. This is the time where Albania just allowing themselves to get forward.
England have looked pretty comfortable all evening from the set pieces delivered by the Albanians. Might be the last that they have to survive here, and they've got that one half away. Dobra in the thick of it again, but misplaces his pass.
Yeah, it's important you just keep them concentration levels on, particularly when Albania do get them set plays. I wouldn't say it's been a classic game, but it's been one that you'll take away and take all 3 points, clean sheet.
Well, Nikazi said that they wanted to find a way of winning on the front foot. He said that he always played in teams who were very defensive and counter-attacking, and he wants to try and play a different way with his hand on the tiller. Thought that it was an okay performance against Andorra. They played well at times, they got the 4 goals, created a lot of chances, but wanted them to be a bit more clinical, and an okay performance might be his analysis of this one as well.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too far away. I feel that it was going to be a frustrating evening at times, and it did look that way in the first half, but second half they come out, played higher up the pitch, a little bit more intensity.
Well, given away there though by Bursic. Dobra onto it, clean sheet could be in jeopardy. And Dobra has actually been penalised.
Well, Bursic there not really having anything to do all game, and then it's so important that you do make that pass. It's a pass possibly that it doesn't really have to make. You look up at the clock, there's only minutes to go. He's trying to put that ball through the eye of a needle.
Spence. Another victory by a 3-goal margin, back-to-back successes by that distance. So satisfactory international break for the young Lions. Marku lets it run. Tecci. Now Dobra. Dealt with well by Colwill. Dobra's there again though. England have to be on their toes.
Well, he certainly has been the standout player for Albania, Dobra. Still trying to make them tick, still trying to make something happen.
Mitar winning the free kick meanwhile, and here is Armando Dobra again. Might have a go at goal if he gets the chance, and he will. There's going to be a free kick for Albania as we head into the final minute of additional time.
Well, they've just come to light again, Albania late on. Real cheap foul to give away. This will be an excellent opportunity to test Bursic.
He dealt with one from this kind of distance that was deflected earlier on in the second half. Could well be the last threat that England have to repel this evening. And the hit is brilliantly saved by Bursic, who keeps England's clean sheet intact for now. Well, hasn't had much to do, but has produced two very smart pieces of work, the last of which could well mean the clean sheet.
Yeah, he really has, because it's come straight through the wall. I don't think it's just broke away, or might have even come round the wall. Ends up having to make a really good save. You just see Gomez going towards it there. Plenty of pace on the shot.
And that fabulous save from Silla does ensure that England finish the game with a clean sheet as well as the 3 points. A double then from Folarin Balogun and a strike from Curtis Jones, giving England a comfortable success in the end after they spluttered a bit in the first half. But they follow up the Czech Republic's 3-0 victory earlier on today with a 3-0 success of their own. And it means that they are within 3 points of the league leaders again with those 2 games in hand. The next game they play is against the Czech Republic. Full time then, Albania 0, England 3.